center in the hard hat area. In self-development, it's the construction site.
Ayo, what it do? It's your boy Salt Lamp Shouty, aka Mr. A Gallon a Day, aka I am you, back with another one. Look, thank you. Thank you for commenting, liking, disliking, subscribing, sharing, etc. Thank you for choosing to share this space with me. Thank you for allowing me to be a medium of this information in which I gather it and I give it in hopes that the people who really need it are able to receive it. Disclaimer, I am not an expert by any means, so if you have anything to add on, or if you have any information that you want to share that could be contradictory to what I'm saying, but you feel as though it is good or beneficial for others or myself, by all means, please share. Remember, I am a student and my cup is always half empty, so I am always looking to learn new things. Okay, welcome. Welcome to the Power of Forgiveness video series. Welcome to video number 1, Forgive Thyself. In opening, I want to start this video with a quote, and it is as follows: "Forgive yourself for not having the foresight to know what now seems so obvious in the hindsight." That's by Judy Belmont. The reason why I felt as though this quote was important to start off with is because for years I have suffered guilt, remorse, resentment, anger, all of these things. I have dealt with negative emotions for years for stuff that I did when I didn't know any better. I've done things that today the person that I am would never ever do. I've done things in the past in which I didn't have the ability to have foresight to see any negative possible outcomes from my action. So with that being said, enough about me. Let's get into the video. Let's talk about what forgiveness is. According to psychologytoday.com, forgiveness is the release of resentment or anger. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. One doesn't have to return to the same relationship or accept the same harmful behaviors from an offender. Forgiveness is vitally important for the mental health of those who have been victimized. It's also vitally important to forgive yourself. It propels people forward rather than keeping them emotionally engaged in an injustice or trauma. Forgiveness has been shown to alleviate mood, enhance optimism, and guard against anger, stress, anxiety, and depression. Even if you are the offender, you need to forgive yourself. Lastly, however, there are scenarios in which forgiveness is not the best course for a particular person. Sometimes a victim of sexual abuse become more empowered when they give themselves permission not to forgive. Now, I know this is a very touchy subject and I'm only going to tread very lightly with my comments, but I'm going to say that again, remember, when you choose not to forgive, you're choosing to hold on to resentment, anger, etc. So, moving on, healthline.com, how to forgive yourself. Making peace and moving forward is often easier said than done. Being able to forgive yourself requires empathy, compassion, kindness, and understanding. It also requires you to accept that forgiveness is a choice. Remember, forgiveness is a choice, no matter if you've forgiven yourself or you've forgiven others. Forgiveness is a choice. Whether you're trying to work through a minor mistake or one that impacts all areas of your life, the steps you need to take in order to forgive yourself will look and feel the same. All of us make mistakes at times. As humans, we're imperfect. The trick, says Arlene B. Englander, is to learn and move on from our mistakes. So, how do you move on and learn? How do you learn and move on from the mistakes? Is eventually detaching the emotions associated with said memory or event. But we're going to talk about that later. As painful and uncomfortable as it may feel, there are things in life that are worth enduring the pain for in order to move forward, and forgiving yourself is one of them. So, really quickly, when you're healing from anything, there's going to be pain and there's going to be discomfort, but you have to find and you have to build emotional fortitude to be able to go back, address certain events or memories that happen, and pull information and not have any emotional attachment. Or if you do have an emotional attachment, don't let it control you. Don't let it bound you. Okay. I feel as though it is important to understand remorse. Remorse, according to Wikipedia, is a distressing emotion experienced by an individual who regrets actions which they have done in the past that they deem to be shameful, hurtful, or wrong. Remorse is closely allied to guilt and self-directed resentment. And there's different levels of these words, but as far as I understand, when you add all of these things up, hurtful, shameful, wrong, guilt, you become remorseful and you gain self-resentment, or you resent yourself. And when you start to do this, when you start to resent yourself and you feel remorseful for an extended period of time, you put yourself in what's called a hell-like state. Before we get to a hellish state, I want to talk about remorse just a little bit more. So according to Oxford Languages, remorse is deep regret or guilt for a wrong committed. The key word, I think, is deep, like it's deeply rooted. This is something that's been contemplated over time. Okay, so moving on to vocabulary.com, the noun remorse has a very vivid origin. It comes from Latin roots re. So when you see re before something, understand that re means again, like repeatedly. And mordere, so the root word of, I guess, morse, or the etymology, the history of morse comes from mordere or mortar, to bite. And now I think that's a very general, light term, to bite. It might be literal, but understanding to bite or to be remorseful for yourself is to pin negative energy on yourself. But let's continue. So if you feel remorse, it means that your conscious is working on you and your past actions are biting you back, meaning, they're coming back and they're harming you and making you feel very regretful, very regretful. Synonyms for this word are penitence, rue, and contrition. If you take a cookie from the cookie jar and ate it, you can't return it at all. All you could do is feel remorse for what you did. Okay, so remorse. When you get stuck in a remorseful state, like your subconscious keeps negative thought loops about something that you did wrong, you're going to put yourself into what's called a hellish state. And so when I say a hellish state, I'm not talking about, you do something wrong, you die and go to hell. I'm talking about mentally. You live in a hellish state and everything around you is negative, whether you think like someone is going to be out to get you, or you just always constantly feeling sad, or whatever the case may be. You're going to be in what's called a hellish state. And when you are in a hellish state, you start to attract negativity in your life, whether it's something that you're making up in your mind or it's physically you're physically witnessing something. And because your mind is stuck in that hellish state, you can look at these things from a negative perspective. Okay, so according to Merriam-Webster.com, the definition of hell is, we're going to move down to number 2A, a place or state of misery, torment, or wickedness. B, a place or state of turmoil or destruction. C, a severe scolding. Now, when you scold someone, you like cuss them out, or you yell at them, or you give them an earful. You let them know that, you're displeased about something. So we're going to skip D and go to E. And E says an extreme, unpleasant, and often inescapable situation. When a person is living in a hellish state, they can't escape because they're not healing from the things that's bothering them. It's constantly plaguing them, and they feel as though they have no way out. And those feelings of remorse and regret and all of that stuff turns into depression and other mental health illnesses. So let's understand something that's constantly repeated in the definition of hell, which is state. Again, according to Merriam-Webster.com, state 1A, mode or condition of being. When you talk about the being, is the inside of the person, who you are, what you are, etc. B, 1, condition of mind or temperament. This is exactly what they is referring to in the definition of hell, and they say state, condition of mind or temperament. Number 2, a condition of abnormal tension, keyword tension, and or excitement. Living in a hellish state, again, you get plagued with negative feelings of guilt, remorse, etc. And you get stuck. You get stuck into a hellish like state. Okay, so I'm running out of time. With that being said, I'm going to kick back up with more. So thank you for tuning in to part 1. Please, by all means, let me know. Remember, you are I and I am you. I love you. I'm out.